Hey everybody, welcome back to BobkeTV and a quick recap of a wild, thrilling, dynamic, insane stage number 16 of the Giro d'Italia. Uh, the standings will show that Tom Dumoulin still has the pink jersey, but that tells almost none of the story. Although it might tell enough of the story for Tom Dumoulin to still win the Giro d'Italia. I personally don't think that's going to happen, but it's not impossible at this point. Um, the stage winner, Vincenzo Nibali, first Italian win in this year's Giro d'Italia, and a massive 15,000 plus feet of climbing. The Stelvio twice, and the Mortirolo on offer in the morning, and beautiful, absolutely gorgeous weather. Nibali attacking on the last climb and eventually on the descent into Bormio. And I'd like to apologize for saying Bormio for the day before the rest day when it should have been Bergamo. So please, Sage 15, rewind your tape and just overdub Bergamo instead of Bormio for the stage finish. But Vincenzo Nibali winning a thrilling stage, catching Mikel Landa from the Sky Squad, trying to salvage something for Sky, and almost won the Queen stage. But the first Italian winner, maybe fittingly, Vincenzo Nibali, the defending champion of the Giro d'Italia, on the descent. On the climb, dropped all of his rivals, except for Nairo Quintana, who was able to hang tough and only lost a few seconds on the descent to Mikel Landa and an absolutely flying Vincenzo Nibali. Nibali, one of the best descenders on the planet, using the entire descent of the Stelvio to catch the last man from the early morning breakaway, Mikel Landa, and getting a brilliant stage win and moving himself all the way up into third place in the overall standings, ahead of Thibaut Pinot and Bauke Mollema and Domenico Pozzovivo. So Vincenzo Nibali having a very, very good day, obviously. The drama of this stage will be remembered, however, for Tom Dumoulin having some gastrointestinal distress and needing to dismount and relieve himself on the side of the road, and losing over 2 minutes to Nairo Quintana in the overall standings, and Nairo pulls himself up to within 31 seconds of Tom Dumoulin. Seemingly a disaster when you look at it, to lose over 2 minutes on a stage that Tom Dumoulin seemed to be riding quite well. If we look at the times, up the last climb of the Stelvio, Tom Dumoulin was right in there with the fastest guys up that climb, but having to take a break, having to pull over on the side of the road and relieve himself, cost him a tremendous amount of time. Physically, if he could recuperate from that, should be able to win the Giro still. He's climbing great, time trialing spectacularly, and let's not forget there's another time trial, almost 20 miles of time trialing from Monza to Milano. So Nairo Quintana, 31-second deficit, is closer to, in my estimation, a minute 15. So Tom Dumoulin still has a pretty big advantage, and Nairo has to continue attacking in the mountains. And believe me, there's plenty of mountains to come. The question will be asked for a long time, I suppose, depending on what happens the rest of the Giro, which, believe me, is going to be thrilling. And about anything is going to happen still. Should the favorites have waited for Tom Dumoulin when he had to go to the bathroom? And my opinion is no. To quote Vincenzo Nibali, I never expect anybody to wait for me. And I think that cycling would be better served if that's what the circumstance was. That's how the gentleman's agreement, the chivalry of years gone by, could be answered one and for all. I think Nibali is on the right track. It's not impossible to imagine there will be a circumstance when the peloton needs to do something drastic, like declare a neutral section, the officials have a cold weather protocol, which they can use if they find that necessary. But to imagine that in 3 weeks of racing, there will be no incidents and happenstances to you out on the open roads for hundreds of miles every day it's not realistic. I don't think that it serves the sport to have this nebulous, inexplicable weight or race basic ideology. I think that it's a race. Everybody should race to the finish line. And I don't recall the peloton ever waiting for me, in spite of numerous circumstances that were less than conducive to carrying on in the field in the peloton. So, and that's part of the problem, is who to wait for and when. Tom Dumoulin asked for ceasing in hostilities when Nairo Quintana crashed. Movistar did not cease the hostilities when all three, Adam Yates from Orica and Geraint Thomas and Mikel Landa from Sky, crashed because of a motorcycle on the side of the road. So I think it would be better if everybody races to the finish line with the resources that they have. Paying attention is a big part of the sport. Anticipating, leadership within your team, team spirit, and you know whether. I mean, and I'd like everybody to comment on this. I don't think that Tom Dumoulin stopping to go to the bathroom is a time when the leaders going into the last climb of the Queen stage of the Giro d'Italia should have waited. If you disagree, please feel free to comment. And if there is a circumstance where the field should wait for one of the principal riders, I presume, because they've had a problem, mechanical crash, health-wise, please let me know in the comment section. And Tom Dumoulin still has plenty of time when we look at the races to come, the stages to come, to win the Giro d'Italia. I still think Nairo's going to win. I still think Nibali, who's in third now, is going to be on the podium, and Thibaut Pinot is also going to be on the podium, which is my three picks originally. So Tom Dumoulin could be the revelation of the season, of the decade, if he can hold on and win the Giro. I suspect he will have one crisis in the mountains and lose more time. If he can mitigate that, if he can keep that to a minimum and stay within a half minute of Nairo Quintana before the last stage, he will win the Giro d'Italia. It's going to be a great last few days. Please stay tuned. Thanks a lot, everybody.